Very happy greetings to everyone who is celebrating, and even to those who are not celebrating, because it's a blessed time, and we should take all the blessings that we can, no matter where they come from. So, as we have a few ground rules for this club. First of all, we voluntarily choose not to talk about sex, religion, and politics, as long as it is, especially uh, with a view to uh, bring any person or individual or community down. And we do not encourage discriminating against any person or individual, and we expect our members not to indulge in such discourse. Secondly, this meeting will be recorded and later it will be uploaded to the club's YouTube channel like all our previous meetings. So if any one of us does not wish to be recorded, please let us know in advance and we can suspend the recording for that particular person or session. And thirdly, of course, we try to keep our videos on and our audios off unless it's our turn to speak. During speeches, we also avoid giving reaction in the chat box, but we can do so after a speech has concluded. So with that, I welcome you all once again to Quantum Leap Advanced Toastmasters Club and hand over the charge to our president, DTM Said Ali Shir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster DTM. I don't know 5-time or the 6-time DTM Tala. So we started the meeting on exactly 10 a.m. and that credit goes to all the members in our club about related to the time management. We start on time and we do our best to conclude the meeting on time. And that is a unique identity of Quantum Leap Toastmaster Club. I'm proud of it. By having said this one, let me make a couple of announcements first. In District 122, we have 3-day conference, 29th, 30th, and the 1st of May. And that conference is going to be headed by, or you can say our guest, the guest of honor, or the chief guest is International President, GTM Matt. So he is going to move around in Pakistan, first in the center of the Pakistan, then he will move to the south of the Pakistan, and then the last the stretch is to the capital of the Pakistan. So there is a 3-day event, 29th, 30th, and 1st of May. I encourage if you can make a point to attend, so you are all most welcome. By having said this one, let me ask DTM Thala, it is online facility available for these 3 days?
Yes, sir, that is in the works. At least the conferences will be broadcast on the web. Perhaps not in an interactive way, but they will be certainly broadcast. And of course, they have to be online because we have one of the keynote speakers sitting right here, Toastmaster Lydia Norman, who will be speaking in the Karachi section, and she'll be speaking live from Las Vegas. So it has to be online. But the idea right now is to cover the conference and broadcast it on our Facebook page, live stream it on our Facebook page, rather than offer any interactivity. But that may change also, especially in terms when there's a keynote address like Lydia's. So of course it will have to be interactive as well. So we'll be also using Zoom for that purpose.
So at least we have the facility online attendance in Karachi that will be on the 30th of April. Yes. And by others, it will be directly broadcast to the social media, wherever it is on 29 and the 1st of May. The second part is that since we are just approaching to the end of our term, and around the globe, it's a time to pass the baton to the new leaders. And in the elections for this club is going to be happening the second week of the May. May I write Toastmaster DTM Tala? So I already circulated club leadership handbook. So you can go through it and feel yourself that which position it is best suitable for you, that you can contribute your expertise to the members. The third part is let's recap what happened in our last meeting. And again, I will hand over the virtual control to DTM Talha.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Our last meeting was a joint meeting with Karachi Toastmasters Club, and here are the results. Just give me a second. All right, first of all, we had a very memorable keynote by Toastmaster Ryan Roper, and it was all about how whatever we are doing or pretending to be doing to save the planet is simply not enough and is simply an eyewash. And what is it that we need to be actually doing in order to save the planet? So there was no best speaker because both the speakers were time disqualified. Best evaluator was won by Toastmaster Lateef Mansoor Ali. Best table topics was won by Toastmaster Ahmed Abdullah. Best Big Four was won by our co-TMODs, DTM Sudarshan and Toastmaster Rabia. And for the first time ever, I don't know if it happens anyone else, since we have evaluation teams in Quantum League, we did have 2 evaluation teams last time too, and we invited voting for those evaluation teams. And Team 2, led by DTM Sir, won the team evaluation award. So that was our last meeting. It was a memorable one, and here's hoping this one is too. So over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much once again, DTM Talha. Fellow Toastmaster, is there is any change, amendment, and deletion what DTM Talha mentioned about it? If none, we adopt what he said as a true record of the club. Thank you very much, DTM Talha. Now it's time to move to our education session, and to lead our education sessions. He is not here yet, but I will take the lead for that one. And I'm going to request our keynote speaker for that. In the meantime, when he will attend, he can proceed. Otherwise, we can give this assignment to someone else. Our regular keynote speaker and always come up with the scientific benefit of learning, and he come up with basically sharing his knowledge and the wisdom on the quantum side of the science. So once again, he is going to share with us synchronicity as a tool of repair. Please put your hand together, welcoming Toastmaster Sky Nelson Isaac.
Sky, we can't hear you.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
And is it appropriate for me to offer congratulations for your festival or your
Sure.
holiday? Is it Eid? How do you pronounce it?
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, congratulations. It sounds wonderful. And I'm so happy to be here with you all. I invite you to take a deep breath with me. And, just briefly, I do speak about quantum mechanics in my work. Synchronicity, I'm the first one to really talk about quantum mechanics as a foundation for synchronicity. So if you talk to other physicists, they will not think of that as being the same field. But that's part of what I'm trying to do here in the presentation and with the research I do. So thanks for being a receptive audience for that. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And can you see? Yeah, you see the main presentation. Good. Synchronicity is a tool for repair. And let me know if there's a problem seeing it, or I'll just keep going. My partner, Cheslin Pierre-Paul, is not here tonight because actually for them, it's 1 a.m. in the morning because we're an international crowd. So, but we're leading a workshop that we're designing for next week on Saturday. And it's a wonderful set of tools and teachings. And you'll learn a little bit about that today. Find out more at the end. So we're talking about synchronicity as a tool for repair. And what do I mean by repair? Well, let me tell you a story about repairing connection. When I say repair, I'm looking at the relationships we have with each other in the world right now, which in many cases are strained or maybe more visible in the strain because we've got the internet, and also in our own self with ourselves, like looking at our dreams for our life and what we're doing with our the people we're in relationship with and what visions we have for ourselves. Are those relationships aligned? So repairing connection with ourselves and with others. Just a quick illustration. I came home last week from an event I was at night, and I came home and I had about 10 minutes with my wife before she went to bed. And in that 10 minutes, we had an interaction. I came into the interaction sort of tense and upset about something that had happened elsewhere. And she made a comment to me that I didn't like, and I got tense and silent and unhappy, upset. So I noticed this whole pattern happen. And it was hard to calm myself down and repair that. Instead, I just left the room. But once I was out of the room, I was able to sort of do some thinking about what did I want to choose in myself. Do I want to choose going to bed angry? Do I want to choose calming down and finding my center, going back and repairing this relationship that I care about? I was able to feel more calm, go back in and say to my wife, can we talk? Can we just have a hug, reconnect? We did that. And I noticed that was a really key moment, that choice, right? We have a bifurcation or a branching of two paths. And when we notice, tension come up in our lives, we always have a choice, some kind, how we're going to handle that. And sometimes we can actually look at, maybe I did make a mistake in the way I reacted, but I can go back and repair. And maybe this is even a synchronicity. Maybe this is even life showing me a way to heal and help grow myself through this conflict. So that's what we're going to talk about with synchronicity as a tool for repair. So synchronicity is an unusual circumstance whose meaning becomes clear in the future. So something happens now, like maybe me getting in a fight with my wife, and it only becomes clear in the future why that's useful. As it turns out, so synchronicity has these words: together, time, and condition. So it's a condition of events that happen together at the meaningful moment in time. As it turns out, with my wife, we had the next day, after we sort of had this make-up conversation, we had a deeper conversation about where we fell on this ongoing patterns. We resolved some patterns. We understood each other at a deeper level. But I imagine if I had gone downstairs upset and not resolved it, then something else might have happened the next day that made it even worse. If you've ever been in a situation where you're kind of in a bad mood or have something going on with somebody, and another thing comes up and it gets even worse, something you're fighting about something else. So that's my view of synchronicity, is like when we choose to go towards healing, get more opportunities for healing. Synchronicities happen that help make it better. Maybe some free tickets to a show or to a date night. And when we choose to go into the place of ourselves that's hurt and frustrated and aggravated, we get more aggravation, challenges. Like my kid might come home from school early, she's sick, and now we're all stressed out. So more opportunities to get upset with each other. So that's what I'm curious about. How does synchronicity actually lead us towards repair? I want to add another definition here that maybe even makes it more accessible. Synchronicity is any situation that tickles an active theme in your life. Just noticing when something that's happening for you is resonant or reflecting something already happening. When I got home from that night out, I was already dealing with the fact that I felt tense and I felt unappreciated. So when my wife said something to me that made me feel unappreciated, then I was really like triggered by it. And I was able to learn about myself how to calm down. So that was a synchronicity in my view. Now, Steve Jobs said, you talked about connecting the dots. How do you connect the dots to the events in your life? How do you make meaning out of your life? He said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. And I look at this as a way of understanding synchronicity. The dots that he's talking about are these branches, branching points where life splits in certain ways. And if you can look at it in retrospect, you see how your life has led you through a bunch of choices where you are. So this tree of possibilities is a way of looking at the choices that you make in life. And the apples at the end are the intentions or the efforts that you're making to create certain things in life. It's me choosing to calm myself down and go back and repair the relationship that brings me closer to one of those apples versus choosing to go, downstairs and go to bed angry. I would choose a different set of outcomes. So I associate this tree with the choices that we make in life. And I want to illustrate to you a new examination of tree model. This is what I want to share with you tonight. So this is a way that came to me to illustrate these concepts that I've been talking about in science for some time that is, I think, more complete. And I want to test it out on you guys. Does that sound good? So the synchronicity tree, it's special because the tree branches connect to the tree roots. And I've been working on trying to understand how does one synchronicity lead into change in your life? How does it lead into the next moment? How does time repeat itself in a way that's meaningful? This is what's happening here. And it was pretty special because after about a month of really thinking about these problems in a new way, at one moment I was just lying down and this vision popped in my head of this tree. So it was a gift to me that I received, and I wrote it down. But it all made perfect sense when I saw it. So what I want to illustrate for you is the aspects of this tree. What's important is that you go through life in the moment and you are experiencing many branches of possibility, right? When I got home from my timeout and I started to argue with my wife, we were actually in many branches of possibility. There are many ways that can end up. And those branches, the thing is, we can't tell from the inside that there's different possibilities. On the inside, it looks like our life is just our life. None of us feel like there's lots of opportunities. What we see is just the world we're living in. But so each branch looks the same from inside of it. But what's different is how the world is evolving around you. So right now in your room right now, it looks like you're just living your life. But outside of those walls, there's a whole world that's evolving in many different possible ways. And when Dana and I were arguing that night, there's a lot of things outside the world that are evolving. The possibility of free tickets to a concert the next day, or the possibility of getting a crisis with my daughter coming home from school the next day. These are all possibilities in the world outside that are evolving. That's what the different branches represent. In other words, each branch represents one possible history of the world or how it could unfold. But you can't see that in the moment. So you're left guessing, how am I supposed to respond in this moment to get to the direction I want to go with my life? And what's clear in this picture, what I want to make clear is that each branch connects to exactly one root. The branches tie into the root of the tree in the cycle to come back into the trunk of the tree, and each branch connects to exactly one root. And the roots, what do they represent? Well, what is it that guides your life? It's choices. So each root, every tree has a lot of roots. You get to choose which one you tap into. And each cycle, you get to choose which one you tap into. And when you tap into that root, here's the key point. When I chose to go back into my wife's room and talk about it, reconnect, I chose that root. But I also chose the branch that came before. Take a moment to think about what I just said. When I choose the root of my next choice, I'm also choosing the branch that came before that connects to that branch, that root. So there's a whole series of things that come along with that branch that I just chose. By making the choice to reconnect with my partner, I also choose a number of other things in the world out there that can come along to help that process. Those branches, that branch that I chose, incidentally has synchronicities associated with it, has helpful opportunities that are going to fall into my lap because I chose that path. So the key idea with this model is that when we are choosing in our lives, we're not just choosing what we think we're choosing. We're also choosing a whole branch that goes along with that. And that branch contains possibilities that you're not aware of. So when you choose to repair any kind of rupture that's happened in your life, go inside yourself. If it's in your position to do so, you are choosing also what goes along with that branch, other synchronicities that can unfold, bring you more success in that process, maybe more closeness with that person. That's what this tree model is intended to represent. So I think of it as 3 steps. First is setup. You're living your life, having those conversations, not sure exactly what's happening, but you're doing your best. And then there's choice. Those are the branches, the setup. And there's choice, where you are at the roots. And when you choose a root, you also connect to one of those branches above that it's connected to. This root here is connected all the way up here to this branch up here. So when you choose a root in the present, you're actually choosing a whole past that goes along with that root, that contains the synchronicities that you're seeking. And then there's the integration, which is coming back into your life and seeing how the choice you made impacts your life. That's when I received the nice gifted tickets and say, oh, now we can actually have some special date night together. Or that's when something else happens, like my daughter comes home from school early because she's sick, and that adds extra stress. This is when we start to experience the synchronicities, and we have to adapt to the way that life is unfolding. But it's all relative to our choice that we make. So setup, choice, and then integration. This is a cycle of synchronicity unfolding in our lives, in my view. So some of the questions I look into, Shes and I look into, for how do you know if repair is needed? Not that we always have to repair every problem that happens, but a couple of things you can just check into. Do you notice tension in your body? Are you having the same negative thoughts about a situation again and again? Do you notice a pattern filter in you, something you're responding and reacting to repeatedly? And we can quantify the need for repair through what our body is sensing. Intensity, the quality of our body tells us a lot about what we need in our spirit in order to feel complete. And the goal, or the possibility here, is that we can feel complete in a conversation or an interaction. When we feel complete in an interaction, we don't leave behind pieces that need to be picked up later. When we leave behind pieces, we continue generating more and more different branches that need to be resolved and come back to. When we resolve those branches, those tensions, have the conversations we need to have, then we get to move on to other things. Don't feel we need to return and re-experience that situation. So the synchronicities bring us to new things, new possibilities of growth, rather than repeating the old. So I think it's going to jump ahead to this slide, but I want to just show you. Oh no, I got rid of that slide. So I'll just share with you this final slide. The workshop we do, synchronicity for social impact, change, and connection. Synchronicity as a tool of repair. And then there's Jess and I. And this ties into the concepts of retroactive event determination and the way that we make choices in the world, and the possibilities unfold in response to us. We're going to take that idea and show how we can bridge the gaps between us through listening to life, listening to our bodies, listening to our souls, and going in the direction that we're really called to go from a deep place. And I believe that the world is programmed, that the quantum world, the physical world, is designed to bring us meaningful situations, because those are the ones that help us grow and heal and evolve ourselves to the next level of challenge. When we can work out what's happening for us right now at an emotional level, then we resolve that with people, we get to the next opportunity, the next level of challenge. So I invite us in this process to grow as we go, and feel like we can get to the next place instead of repeating the past. So thank you so much for having me and listening to this new presentation about the synchronicity tree. If you find it interesting, and I'd love to hear your feedback or your questions.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sky Nelson. And our Toastmaster of the day is here, Toastmaster Saad. Can you take over the question answer session, please?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sky, for leaving us with much to think about, and for that very enlightening keynote speech. So, fellow audience, now is the time to ask your questions. So, DTM sir, you can begin.
Thank you very much, DTM Saad. Toastmaster Sky, my questions to you. You come up with another excellent science idea, and you connect two things together. One is a science, and the second is a psychology of human being. What was the incident in your life that forced you to connect these together?
Well, there was, I think, a gradual awakening to that there was a lot of meaning to everything that's happened in my life. I learned that as a child from my parents and the traditions we followed, many different traditions from around the world. But there was one moment when I refer to a lot when I was traveling in Europe, and my wife, not my wife at the time, my friend from high school was traveling in Israel, and we made this really loose plan to meet in Greece if we could. It's the country of Greece, which is kind of in between where we were traveling. And I got sick, so I couldn't meet her, and we didn't have cell phones. This is in the 90s. So I just got on a plane in Paris and was going to fly home. But I had 2 days in Paris, and in that time, she got an invitation to go to Paris as well. And she almost didn't go because she was waiting for me to call. But she finally said, "Forget Sky, I'm going to go to Paris." She went to Paris. We both went to the Louvre Museum, and we bumped into each other. So what are the chances of us not only being in Paris, but if we're in Paris, even meeting? It just made me understand that there was, not only were we close friends, not only did we feel this urge to ultimately be together and be married, but we were trying to meet already in Greece. So something brought us together.
Thank you very much for that answer. Next, we have Toastmaster Irfan Faruqi with a question. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Sky, you said that connection needs communication in your synchronicity travel. But I think the most important issue is communication, because for communicating, I can say something, somebody can not listen to it. Communication would take place when both of us are trying to understand the situation in same manners. Do you think there is a way that can resolve this communication issue? I want to settle my issues with somebody. He or she is not ready to listen. So how to do this? How to start this communication process?
Yes, well, this is why it connects to physics, science, which is so cool. It's about the way we filter information. So when we have a reaction to somebody, so there's a tension between us, whether it's their fault or our fault, I'll have an opinion about. We are interpreting what's happening to us in a certain way. That is our brains taking in information and being selective about what we see, right? Because there's a whole lot of information coming to us all the time. There's a lot of positive information and information that might make us upset all the time. So we're choosing what we listen to and what we feel in our body as a result. And as we become more aware of, and that's filtering, like just as you have in signal processing, like in music or in videos, you can filter, like my filter right now, you can see my background, blurry, because the computer is taking all the information, picking out what's important, filtering that and focusing on that and blurring everything else. We do the same thing. So when I got home to be with my wife, what happened was I was standing with my arms crossed because that felt really comfortable, actually. It felt really open for me. But for her, it appeared like I was being closed and really intense. So there's a disconnect between us, right? And her perception was, I'm going to take in this information a certain way. And when she said that to me, my perception was to take her information a different way. And so what we can do is we can learn to become aware of the filter, what it's telling, what it's coming from. What are we thinking? And what is the feeling that we're having in our bodies? And then is it really accurate? In that moment with my wife, it wasn't accurate that she was actually criticizing me, but I felt criticized. So if I can be aware that I felt criticized, find a different way to resolve that without blaming her, then I don't intensify the confrontation. I sort of work, I heal myself, I nourish myself, and I come back to her and say, okay, I'm ready to have this conversation. And that resolves or allows for repair without engaging in more and more conflict.
Thank you very much for that answer. Next, we have DTM Talha bin Hamid for a question. Over to you, sir. You aren't audible. You are unmuted, but you aren't audible. Maybe you can.
Oh, I like he says, Iran says this tree looks like a banyan fig tree. That's interesting.
Audible now?
Yes.
All
Now
right.
you're.
So turning it off and on again, the cosmic reality of rebooting. Anyhow, so Sky, your whole discourse about the tree, that reminded me of the, I'm forgetting the term here, all the diagrams that we see of all the possible histories and futures of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the present is the converging point. And what's interesting is that usually in those diagrams, we see the future converging into 1,000 branches and not the past. But with your presentation, that brings up a really intriguing idea that, we can have multiple pasts as well. And recently I've been watching some YouTube videos. So there's this real debate about not the past not necessarily determining the future, but sometimes the future determining the past. So am I right in understanding that by choosing to interpret events in a certain way, which you call standing at the root and selecting a certain route, we can change the whole history, emotional and physical history? Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes. Now, from a scientific point of view, if you've already observed something, you have information about it. The information cannot be destroyed. So what you've observed is definitely there. What's key about those branches is that there's all these branches that look the same for you because what you're observing is the same, but everything you're not observing, the environment that you're in, the whole world itself, can evolve in many different ways, and it still looks the same to you. So that's the past that you can have some influence over. All the things that you haven't actually observed yet. So you can't actually prove that you changed them, but they're still open to change based upon your present moment choice in the next cycle when you choose the route. So yes, as you said, past is also not fixed. There are many possible paths. For you, there's one past, right? There's one history that Talha has in his life. But for all the ways when you interact with me, you're not aware of my past. So I'm bringing a whole new set of circumstances to your life when we meet. That's the other branches that are coming to merge, that are merging with yours. And that's where the synchronicities come from, right? Because I bring a conversation or a comment, you say, oh, it's my birthday too. And so we realize that there's a synchronicity, you know, and that's because the pasts are coming together.
Thank you very much. So we have, yes, we have Toastmaster Osama Ali with a question. Over to you, Toastmaster Osama. You are audible.
Toastmaster Sky with a great speech. Am
What
I
was that?
audible now?
Now
Yes,
you're audible.
some delay.
Yeah. Am I audible? Okay.
Yes.
Toastmaster Sky, that was such a wonderful speech. I have one question from the speech you shared about Steve Jobs' theory of connecting the dots. I believe that he shared this theory because of his own life experiences. I would like to ask you that what were 2 to 3 moments in your life that made you feel that connecting the dots theory is true? I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah. Well, you know, thank you for that opportunity to share that. I appreciate the question. I first learned about this mathematical technique called the Fourier transform when I was in college, and actually probably in high school, because I was a musician. So all the different parts of my life have come together in a very meaningful way. As a musician from the age of 5 years old, I learned music theory. I learned how to record and see on a computer how you have the frequencies in a song. All that was stuff that I had done for fun. I got to college and was studying physics and learning about the Fourier transform. The Fourier transform underlies the relationship between momentum and position. It's the foundation of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It's also the foundation of music theory. So I started to see the Fourier transform as a central piece of physics and life and music and the universe, cosmos. And that was early. And then over time, I saw how all these pieces come together even more through the work of like Gary Zukov and the Dancing Wu Li Masters is one book I read, and the Bell's theorem, which got the Nobel Prize last year, or the experiments on entanglement. So all of these pieces have come together throughout my life as I've started to see how they interrelate. And I feel like they're leading me towards a deeper understanding of space-time that was handed to me little by little, starting in high school and college. The first piece was maybe a book on string theory that I read, The Elegant Universe. Anybody remember the author's name? Brian Greene. And that was, learning about string theory as a kid who's into music. I thought, this is amazing. The universe is made of harmony. So I was just gifted with these little puzzle pieces along the way that helped me stay really interested in this journey. And now it's definitely my life's work to be given an opportunity to understand the way meaningful histories come together in our lives, from both a physical point of view and a human experience point of view.
Thank you very much for that answer. Next, we have a question from Toastmaster Elios. How can we use synchronicity as a tool for repairing our relationship, both with others and with ourselves? Are there any specific practices or techniques you would like to recommend for cultivating a synchronistic mindset that promotes healing and growth in our connection with others?
Yeah. So as I was describing earlier, when we can identify the filters we have, it helps, for me, it really helps see what's going on in my life and how I'm contributing at certain points in choice. I'm contributing to more tension versus resolving the tension, because I'm thinking thoughts that are not helpful, like this person doesn't like me, when I don't really know that, and feeling things that aren't helpful, like if I don't respond the right way, they're gonna, I feel judged, or I feel, fearful, or I feel embarrassed. And then when we see that happening in real time, often we can realize it's actually not needed right now. That reaction isn't actually relevant, because when my wife, criticized my body posture, it doesn't matter. She and I trust each other at a deep level. I don't need to be hurt by her commenting on my arms being crossed. But I was in a mindset that affected me. So when we learn about how we're responding, become more aware through meditation or mindfulness is one way to do that. It's a spiritual practice. But when we notice the thoughts, the feelings, and the physical sensations in your body, when they all happen together, you say, oh, I'm being triggered, or I'm having this filter come up. And then you can rename. One of the things we do is rename the filter, just as the last example. In that moment, I did some work to identify the filter, my wife, and the filter was something like, when somebody's mad at me, they don't love me. So that's a deep belief that I didn't even know I had. When somebody's mad at me, they don't love me. So then I feel threatened, like, if she's mad at me, I got to fix it, because she might leave me, or she might not talk to me for a couple of days, or she doesn't love me. When I could let go of that filter and rename it to be something like, I'm afraid that she doesn't love me when she's mad, or I'm afraid that she can't love me when she's mad. Then I have a little more space. I can breathe a little deeper when that happens, not feel like I have to fix it right away. Yes, I'm having a fear about that, but I don't think it's really true. So we try to rename those beliefs so that we can actually have a little space from having to respond to them right away and fix things. And I'm going to go ahead and put the workshop link in the chat. The workshop is next Saturday, 9 a.m. my time, which is 9 p.m. your time. And love to have any of you who want to join us. Be welcome to join.
Thank you very much, Sky, for answering those questions in a very meaningful way, and I'm sure many of our queries were answered with your responses. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you all for being inviting and welcoming for me to come, and for listening and asking such great questions. It's really enjoyable for me.
So fellow Toastmasters and guests, now is the time we'll move on to the next part of a Toastmaster meeting. But first, the Toastmaster of the day isn't the only one who can make it a successful meeting, because I need some role holders to actually accommodate me in making it a meeting worth attending. So first, we have the language evaluator, who is Toastmaster Osama Ali. So Toastmaster Osama, can you please explain your role to all of us?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster William Saad Shoaib. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is Toastmaster Osama Ali here, and I am the language evaluator for today's meeting. And as a language evaluator, my role is to discuss about the good use of language and the improvements as well. And I will be discussing about good use of idioms and good use of sentences. And apart from that, I am going to share the word of the day. The word of the day is agog, A-G-O-G, agog, highly excited. The children were all agog to see their parents. A-G-O-G, agog, highly excited. The children were all agog to see their parents. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Osama, for the explanation of your role. I would really appreciate if you can also type the word of the day in the chat box as well. So next we have the timer of the meeting, who is our very own DTM Talab bin Hamid. Over to you, sir, to please explain your role.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters. Today, as a timer, it's my job to keep the meeting on track. And everybody knows what a timer does. So I'd rather we return to the meeting agenda and save time.
So you'll also need to be called back.
Yeah.
Called back now because you are also the geek of the week. So please introduce your item to all of us.
Thank you so much, everyone. And today, yes, I'll be the geek of the week. I want to introduce something very special. And that's why, being conveniently the VP Education, I allocated 10 whole minutes for this session. I'm hoping it won't take that much time, but if someone can just alert me when 7 minutes have passed, I would gladly like to end the session. So today, I want to introduce a very special book. A book that I read recently, I finished, and I already want to read it again, which is very rare. It is actually a science fiction novel. How many of you have seen the movie or read the novel, The Martian? Or at least heard of it? Yeah. The one with Matt Damon. All right. So this person who wrote Andy Weir, he is known for his unique brand of science fiction, which is called hard science fiction, which means that it is quite a bit rooted in reality and existing things that we have. It's not so much a flight of fancy as some of the other science fiction writers are. He follows in the proud tradition of Arthur C. Clarke, and for some reason, his books do remind me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. So let me present his latest book to you, and that is called Project Hail Mary. It is one of the most amazing science fiction novels I've ever read. It has some things that I've never seen or experienced or heard in any previous science fiction books that I have read or movies that I've seen. It's a long and epic tale, but the gist of it is that actually, and it starts that way. Actually, our sun, our star, has been infected. It is infected by something akin to a virus. And if you think that's weird, that's just starting. Because yes, he proves that life can exist in extreme temperatures. He proves it. He proves it in the opening chapters. And then our sun has been infected. That virus is eating away at the sun, and the brightness is gradually reducing. And you know that that is a disaster for everyone involved, including Earth. So something needs to be done about it. And the first step is to accelerate the process of global warming. Yes, make it worse, to set off the temperature reduction that is coming from the infection. But second step is to send a mission to another star, Tau Ceti, which is close to our sun, but it appears to be the only star that is uninfected by that particular virus. And a mission is sent by humans to find out what does that star have that is controlling that infection, because gradually many stars, in fact, all the stars in the galaxy are being infected. And there, once again, there's a lot of the first half takes place on Earth and the preparations for the mission and everything, but it also follows two alternative timelines, just like if you see in Christopher Nolan movies, it is said both in the present and in the past. So it's moving between two timelines. So the huge portion that goes into the preparation for the mission, the politics, the logistics, the science, everything. And then once the astronauts are in space and circling around City, what happens is they encounter another spaceship from another species that is coming from another planet that is facing the same problem. And they have also come to City to find out how they can stop the infection. And this is where the most interesting part of the novel starts. Because imagine if you meet an alien life form, how will you communicate with it? And I don't know how this guy has done it, whether he has actually made an extraterrestrial contact, or does he have access to some secret files somewhere? He makes it sound so plausible. It appears like teaching someone a language. How will you teach an alien your language? And how will you learn their language? How will you make first contact? So the first contact the aliens make to him is they don't send him a signal. They don't send him some message in a frequency, nothing like that, because you don't even know how do they communicate, right? It turns out that that species can only see and hear in sound waves and not light waves. So for them, there are no stars. For them, there's no relativity, because all of these concepts come from being able to see and detect the visual spectrum of light. They hear only through sound, and sound is a very slow medium. So again, it's a long, epic tale, so I won't go into details, but how do you communicate? So what this does is, what this alien does is that he actually sends this person, our astronaut, a 3D model of where all the stars are and where their planet is. And think about it, that is something every species who has been into space will understand, because they will know where all stars are, because that is something common for all of us. And then he sends a 3D model back to them. He actually constructs a 3D model out of metal, and they show him where our Earth is. So that's just a start, by the way. And yes, I've been signaled. So I urge everyone to check out this book, Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir. If you don't want to buy the book, or just if you want to have a glimpse, the previews of this book are offered in all the leading platforms on Kindle or Kobo. So you just download the preview, it's free. If you find it interesting enough, go and buy it. You will not regret it. So with that, I hand over the charge back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, TTM Tala, for that interesting Geek of the Week session, and for giving us a book to buy and read. So next we have our speaker number 1, who is Toastmaster Mozam Azam. So Toastmaster Mozam Azam's lead evaluator is Toastmaster Lydia Norman, who will be explaining the project objectives and also introducing her panel of modular evaluators. So over to you, Toastmaster Lydia.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I am agog to present Toastmaster Azam's project. He's giving a speech from Presentation Mastery Level 3. The purpose of this project is for them to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech to us tonight. So he will be giving a 5 to 7 minute speech. I will be serving as the lead evaluator, as well as my team, which will be Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal, Toastmaster Karim Saeed, Toastmaster Tala, and DTM SOD. So with that,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lydia. And just one change in the panel of modular evaluator, the auditory evaluator Toastmaster forum is not actually available. So he will be replaced by Toastmaster Zara Ibrahim as the auditory evaluator. So over to you, Toastmaster Mozam Azam. I need to ask you, Toastmaster Mozam Azam, over to you.
Thank you so much. Can everyone confirm that I am audible and visible to you? That's great. Okay. I would like to ask you, if ever it happened to you that someone give you advice, and when you made a counter question that why I should do this, they said, don't ask me why. Raise your hand if you didn't. Everyone experienced this. That means nobody raised a hand. That means everyone did this. As everyone is after that 30 to 35, that means they did it as well. Once I was sitting in the bed in my childhood. I would like to take all of you in your childhood. Mr. Timer, you have no need to go to the childhood because we have to time the speech. Everyone else, you have to go with me that in your childhood. I was sitting in the bed. My uncle came and gives me 500 rupees. Mosam was very happy. My mother said, Mosam is a gog. He got 500 rupees from his uncle. And now he will use it for burgers, for strawberries, and for sandwiches. Yes, she said it. Mosam went in his room and he was very happy while he was watching at 500 rupees. Oh my God, I got 500 rupees. And suddenly the angel of paradise came, my mother. She said, hey Mosam beta, give me these 500 rupees and take a change of 20 rupees from me. And when I asked, why mama? You know what she said? She said, don't ask me why. And then we grew up. I cleared my matriculation examinations. When I cleared my matriculation examinations, my aunt came and said, hey Mosam, which field did you choose? And as my uncle and my mother made up my mind in 8th standard that I will go for chartered accountancy, it was decided that I will go for the major subjects of accounting and economics. But she said, no, better no. You have to choose the physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And when I asked why, do you know what she said? Don't ask me why. And at that time, I misbehaved with the elder person first time. I said, no, this is the first time you have to tell me that why I should go for it. And she said that it was my dream that my son should do this. But as he was not able to got good marks in the matriculation examination, so he was not eligible for that. And I was shocked, okay, so if your son is not able to do it, then you want me to do it. If today I'm not able to impress someone, I will ask for my son to go and impress her daughter, to impress her. That means if you are not able to do something, you suppose that someone else will do that. That is not good. And that day, she said, okay, I will never talk to you. that one day when I asked a question from the senior, from my aunt, she said, I will never talk to you. And when I posted a status that I cleared my 8 exams out of 21 in a 1 year, she posted in a family group that, look, I said Muslim will be the winner. I said Muslim will be the winner. At that time, I mentioned that the card winner have the many fathers and the loser have no supporters. That is the reality. When I posted that, she said, Muslim will be the winner. I said that Muslim will be the winner. What I want to see at these points, that we should change our mindset, we should change our perspective, that junior can't ask a question from the senior, that the younger one can't ask a question from the elder one. If they ask, that means they are misbehaving them. If someone is posting a question to you, that doesn't mean that they don't have respect for you. If someone is asking a question from you, that doesn't mean they don't have belief in you. That the only thing they want is to clarify, is their satisfaction. Everyone has their own respect and point of view. And in these type of things, in these type of professional things, I think that chemistry and frequency doesn't matter. We need to get clarification. We need to get logics of their answers, that what they want and what is the logic behind that. It doesn't mean that if they want, we have to do it. I'm not saying that elders are the wrong persons. I'm saying elders can be wrong, but they never tried to look anything bad for us. They always try their best. The only thing is they have to make their mind that we can ask a question and we can change their mindset as well. Because obviously we are Gen Z. We can do each and everything. And they can get better education and information from us as well. Once my mentor said, learning is not always for the seniors. We can learn from the juniors as well. And Alhamdulillah, my mother got it. And now she asked me everything if she wants to do it for me. That thing, I would like to share that if you have no clarification, you should ask from that person about the logic of this thing. If they don't, that means they don't have logic and you don't need to go for it. Thank you so much. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mozum. And now we'll move on to the lead evaluator for the evaluation, Toastmaster Lydia.
I understand so much how your parent can say to you, don't ask me a question. I think no matter what generation we are, we've experienced that. So I can really identify with you on that particular thing. I really enjoyed your speech. There were a couple of things that I would really like to compliment you on, and that was your storytelling. You had me listening from the very beginning. And when you talked about getting money and have it taken away and being told, don't ask why. The other thing that I really also enjoyed about your speech is saying that regardless of what generation we are, we can learn from each other. I happen to be Gen X. So, and I have millennial children and I learned so much from them. So there's so much that I could really identify with your speech. If there was one thing that I feel like you could do to take your speech to the next level, it would be just to slow down just a little bit and add some pauses so that we have time to really listen to what you were saying and think about it, because you're giving a persuasive speech. The thing about a persuasive speech is that you want to give, you want us to do something. So when you're making that point, you give us some pauses that gives us time to digest things so that we can come along with the line of reasoning that you're trying to get along, impart to us. With that, I think I will pass the baton to the visual evaluator, which would be Toastmaster Faisal.
Just to take a moment and say, I might have to drop off due to tiredness soon, but I really loved being here with you all, so I'll stick around as long as I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you. Toastmaster Faisal. Yeah.
Yes, CTM Talha. Am I clearly audible now?
Yes, sure.
Toastmaster Muslim, you have done an amazing job as far as expressions and gestures were concerned. Your facial expressions and your hand gestures were already, we could easily see throughout the meeting. And your hand gestures were constantly moving and they were conveying the messages along the particular words. For example, at one point you were talking about, I need to ask you. So you were showing that particular you gesture towards the audience. And for example, you also said, don't ask me why. So I was wondering that it could be a bit more enhanced and, made more dramatic or animated. Don't ask me why, something like that, that made sense to you. And another thing that you used is senior. You use the word senior and junior in the last part of your meeting. So I would say that, in my humble opinion, in order to show the difference between senior and junior, you could show that senior and junior, something like that. Which field do you want to choose? Something to show the concept of field. That's from my side. Over to the Toastmaster of the day. The evaluator, please.
Yeah.
For the auditory evaluation, that would be Toastmaster Zara.
Not audible.
You're muted.
You're muted.
All right. Now am I audible and visible?
Yes.
All right. I need to ask you. Don't ask me why. So in the beginning of your speech, you incorporated a very good usage of, I would say, voice modulation. And it was very evident when you started off your speech. And when you said burgers, sandwiches, and the other thing, so there were meaningful pauses I could observe. And we could able to hear your speech very, accurately. And then when you said, I got 500 rupees, it was, you said it in an agog way. So it was wonderful from your end. And so one thing I just wanted to add, when you were, I think you might not be aware about it, when you were speaking, there was a shadow behind you. So how about you could have, when you were exchanging words between your mother, so you could have tilt your head or turn around or, use a certain, you can say change of dialogue. So you could have change your voice or I would say changing the vocal variety of your voice. So, it would have given more powerful, I would say, yeah. I hope you got it. It would have given more value to your speech. Yeah. Over to the main lead evaluator, sorry.
Right. And for the perceptible evaluation would be DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lydia. So first of all, the way we perceive the speech, the way the audience perceived the speech, first of all, it was lively, it was engaging, it told a very good story, and it drove your point home. So it was well constructed, well prepared, well delivered. If I could have just one improvement area, that would be a little more vocal variety. I know that's an auditory area, but towards the perception, it would have helped if it did have a little more vocal variety, but there was a bit of an echo also in your background. So that distracted from a few words and sentences. More variation would have been welcome. But your flow, your preparation, and the way you brought everything together in the end, that was beautifully done. So yeah, that was my perceptible evaluation. Over to you, Madam Lead Evaluator.
And finally, for the structural evaluation, DTM Saad.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lydia. Toastmaster Mosam, when we talk about the opening body and ending with a message, you were absolutely spot on. Maybe when we talk about the structural evaluation, the transition between one point to another can be improved, because at least I was a bit lost in between that where are these characters coming from, and like the lead evaluator said, if you can make your pace a bit low, that will help you to engage the audience even better. So that was my evaluation. Back to Madam Lead Evaluator.
All right, thank you to all the evaluators. And with that, I will pass it back to the Toastmaster for the day.
Thank you very much, Madam Lead Evaluator. And before we move on to the next speaker, I would like to ask the feedback of the speaker, Toastmaster Mosam, that what's the take on all of the modular evaluators. Over to you.
Thank you so much, William Sashri. First of all, it's a pleasure to have in that club where everyone is so experienced and a wonderful speaker. I would love to say that, yes, I learned from each and every evaluator about my deficiencies. And obviously, I'm mastering each and everything, but there are many deficiencies. So I learned from each and every evaluator about that, where I need to excel. We all know that where we master, the only thing we need to know where we need to improve us. And that is the point I learned. And for sure, I will work on it. And in the next meeting, I'm sure that evaluators will get a tough time and they will not be able to find a single mistake. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Challenge accepted. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mosam, for your feedback. Next speaker we have is Toastmaster Zara Ibrahim, and her lead evaluator is DTM Tala bin Hamid. So DTM Tala, can you please explain the speech objectives and also introduce your panel of modular evaluators. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim, and she will be attempting her level 3 elective, which is Know Your Sense of Humor. And in this project, a speaker is supposed first to work out what their style of humor is and what they prefer, and then implement it in a speech. The speech could be any type, any kind, but of course it has to have all the conventional structural elements of a Toastmaster speech with the addition of humor. So it is all about the speaker discovering their sense of humor, the style of humor, and then implementing it in the speech. My panel of evaluators will include today, for visual evaluation, we'll have DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. For auditory, we have DTM Saab. For perceptible evaluation, we have Toastmaster Usama Ali. And for structural, we have Toastmaster Muazzam Azam. So with that, everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim, untitled Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, our my lead evaluator. Okay, so have you ever caught two other purposes of masking tape? Number one, mouth taping in order to speak less. Number two, not to eat less or you can't even eat. Because at times when our mother are always scolding us when we are eating something super delicious, and it's always the fast food. So now my mom being extra vigilant when we siblings are ordering something from our favorite KFC. Yara bara 44622. Oh, it's McDonald's, I think. Yeah. So it's 111532532. Yeah. So it was few months back, me and my brother was crossing by KFC, and my brother just asked, "Do you want to have a KFC or Subway? Are you hungry?" My response, as usual, "Yes, I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten anything since morning." So I said, "Yeah, can we have KFC? It's been so long." So he just parked the car, he went inside, and unfortunately, my mother was also in the front seat. Yeah. So he went inside and we were waiting. So 25 minutes, 20 minutes have crossed by and we were still waiting. And my mother was getting so angry on me. And she said, "Look at yourself, look at the situation, and look at the time." So her prayer was getting kaza and she was very angry. And I just went outside and said, "Let me check on him." And then when I went inside, I don't know how, but the KFC order, there was another person who had the same order, and it was taken by someone else, and he was still waiting. And then I rushed towards the car and I told my amma that, he's coming, we just have to wait for a little while. And then I have given her the, option, or because my brother has, forgot to just open the windows and we were suffocating actually. And I said, "Just open the doors, of the car." And as soon my mother did that, I could smell the aroma of Kentucky fried chicken. And I could, feel the steps of my brother due to that smell. And he just sat down. And so the deal was, we don't have to tell anyone who is, who had the KFC, and, we will go home and we'll pretend to eat. So our, so our home was just 7 minutes away. So he got the Kentucky fried chicken. So the deal was, he's getting the twisters, right? And then without, out of my surprise, you might be wondering, was I able to complete on time the entire twister and Kentucky fried chicken? Yes, I completed the entire twister plus the Kentucky fried chicken in less than 5 minutes. And so the deal was that we have to go home and we have to pretend that we all, are hungry and we have to eat. Next morning, so what happened actually, next morning, my mother was getting really late and she's a lecturer, and we have to, our siblings have to go in with her and, have to get dropped to our universities, to our, organizations, wherever we want. So what happened, and my mom was getting very late. And she came to me, and I don't know what made her so angry. The only thing I remember from that morning was the crisp and hard slap from my mother. And I can't tell you, my mother never slapped me like that before. And like just like an obedient daughter, I looked at my mother in surprise, looked down, and went outside because we were already getting late. Yeah. So and till that time, till 5:30 when I came home, I was still wondering what made her so angry, what I have done so wrong. And yeah, and I entered the home and I entered my home, and my brother is smiling and with a very mischievous smile, yes. And he said to me, "You had KFC yesterday?" And I was like, and I haven't responded at all. And my mother and my sister, my elder sister, looking at me, you know what? That slap wasn't because of the wasn't because of you are getting late. My mom was getting late. It was because of the KFC you had yesterday. And I stopped for a while, and in that point of time, Newton's third law of motion was revolving in my mind. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Because my mom doesn't want me to eat anything that kind, like fast food, or you can say, and my mother was, and it was that slap, like, the reaction which I was getting later on. So my mom just, and now I would like to tell you something. I was just thinking about it, and it made me realize that, what I can change about it. So the situation happened, everything happened. So what can I change about it? Or as the incidents have already taken place, I should take care of my health, isn't it? My mom is just trying her best, and you can say that at times she even complains at how people and colleagues tell her that you being a mom should have, control over your children, which is very wrong, actually. Okay, so one thing which I realized after evaluating the situation, that no matter what, people have a habit of saying anything at any point of time without knowing its consequences. As words have a huge impact in someone's life, as there are certain things which aren't even, in our control, like getting married according to our societal norms. Or I would say that at times we even eat junk, but that doesn't make us stubborn, or we don't even realize things. It's just there are small things which makes us happy. And after making a clear understanding in my mind, I went to my mother and I talked to her. And before I said anything about the slap, she herself accepted that I was also in the same boat and I even had the meal with you guys. So I shouldn't have slapped you. So I talked to her, and long story short, she smiled and looked at me. And long story short, our mother realized and validated her emotions. And it made me feel complete, loved. And moreover, I was able to understand that there's someone, who loves me more than her own self being. As mentioned in the beginning, I think we also have, we are blessed to be with such families or born in, and I would like to just say, as mentioned in the beginning, so as it's been months now, I'm in the path of spiritual and mental well-being. As mentioned in the beginning, remember to keep yourself protected from all undesired situation by making use of this duct tape smartly, to speak less, to avoid argue. Silence is better than quarrel. Number two, to eat less, to reach our desired goal. And being healthy, because healthy mind lives in a healthy body. Life is a gift. Live it, enjoy it, celebrate it, and fulfill it. Over to Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much. Lead evaluator, sorry.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. Yes, sir. You can go.
All right. Thank you. Toastmaster Zahra. So I'll open with my lead evaluation. So first of all, Toastmaster Zahra, I think your speech should not be untitled. It should have a title. It could be any title, because untitled leaves everything open to interpretation, which you do not want, especially if you want to make a humor speech. So I love the fact that your humor is the self-deprecating variety, which means you derive the humor from your own situation, which is the safest kind of humor. It keeps it original. It keeps it. It was very touching for all of us, and it also conveyed to us our societal mindset. The reason that in every Asian mother is constantly at war with her daughter throughout her life. First, before marriage, in order for the daughter to get married, and then after marriage, the daughter to to behave in a way that is ideal, according to an ideal daughter-in-law, an ideal mother, an ideal wife. And so, yeah, for Westerners here, that is a constant bone of contention between mothers and daughters throughout the life. So you had very good flow, and you sold the humor through a faint smile on your face, which is a very effective technique. And then your speech transitioned to tragedy. At least it was tragic for me. I know we all have gotten hit by our parents at some stage, but sometimes it hurts more because it is for all the wrong reasons. And that is something that you managed to convey. So a few improvement areas. First of all, you could be more expressive with the dialogues. You could role play your mother, your brother, for example, and you could say some words with more passion and expression. For example, delicious aroma, or when your mother shouted, "Why are you doing this?" Or when you finish that twister in less than 5 minutes, something like that. And then the slap could have been more dramatic. You could have made a larger drama out of it. You exceeded your time, so better time management needed next year. But overall, a very impactful speech that could have been even more impactful if you just amplified the emotional aspects a little bit more and made some structural adjustments and added more expressions. So with that, I finished my evaluation at exactly 2 minutes and 29 seconds. And I hand over to our panel evaluators. The first panel evaluation will be done by our DTM Saif Ali Sheikh for visual aspects. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lead Evaluators, and in particular, our speaker today. Toastmaster Zara, wow, you was totally relaxed. It shows you prepared your speech. You write down your script and you deliver your speech professionally. That is a great approach. One thing I like most, Zara, the smile on your face. Keep the smiling throughout in your life too. By having said this one, my part is the visual one. Zara, it should be appreciated if you have a contrast background to see you more focused. So your face is little bit dull with your background. If you have the light background, we can see you perfectly all right. And one thing is also missing. I have not seen the stage movement that you are moving from one place to another place. Instead of, I have seen that your body, the upper part of your body is moving from left to right. So try to use the stage movement. By having said this one, why you was keeping the paper in your hand? You was not reading. Avoid it. I really love your speech. Over to the lead evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. Now we move on to the auditory aspects of the speech, and they will be covered by DTM SAR. So over to you.
Thank you very much, lead evaluated TTM Tala. So to start off, Toastmasters, Tara, your pauses were excellent throughout your speech. So we knew that when you were moving from one point to another, what to expect. Just some areas to work upon would be like the lead evaluator said to focus on your vocal variety, like when your mother said, look at the time. You could have made it a bit more dramatic, like, Zara, look at the time. Why don't you follow it, and so on and so forth. And you use words like, yeah, many times. So maybe work on that. But overall, a wonderful speech. Back to the lead evaluator, DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, DTM Thought. And now for the perceptible evaluation, I call upon Toastmaster Sama Ali.
First of all, I would like to congratulate
Sam, we can't hear
Toastmaster
you.
Zara for.
We can.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Toastmaster Zara for having so much courage to share her personal life story about how he got slapped by her mother. And I believe that sometimes in life, these slaps are very important to give the children some lessons, because sometimes children don't take things very serious. Being, you can say, a little bit of a health and fitness guy, I believe that eating after 8 p.m. you are literally killing your body slowly. And most importantly, the fast food and the broiler chicken which we are eating, you know that there is a research that if you are frequently eating broiler chicken 7 days a week daily, you can get gay as well. So you can perceive from this statement that how much dangerous this chicken is. So Toastmaster Zara, I hope that you have taken that lesson serious, and I must say that your speech was very great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, certainly eating it 7 days a week is not recommended. So for structural review, Toastmaster Moscow.
Thank you so much, the leader evaluated DTM Hamid, Toastmaster Zara. As we all know that in every speech, the structure is very important. The opening, the body, and the closing, because it attracts your audience to get to know about that it was opening, and now the person, the speaker, is going to deliver the body of the speech, where the each and everything during the speech mentioned, and then the closing. I recommend you that there is no recommendation, but I appreciate your thing that what did you speak in opening and then body, you all can in your closing. So during a structural evaluation, I would say that it was excellent, and there is no recommendation from my side.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mosam. And now invite Toastmaster Zaira for her feedback.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, especially my lead evaluator and all the module evaluators as well. I just have one thing to say. Osama Ali, I was looking forward to perceptible part, but he made sure to, use this stage presence to tell me all the facts. So thank you very much for that. But okay, and I'm very grateful to all of you. I really learned a lot, and I will definitely improve on all those things and will come up with other great speeches. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we should thank our stars that DTM Ali Amjad is not here to listen to your speech. Otherwise, he would have given you a half an hour lecture on healthy eating habits. So I'm thinking about calling him next time as keynote speaker once again. So with that, I hand over the charge back to our Toastmaster of the day, DTM Sajid.
Thank you very much, DTM Tala bin Hamid, for evaluation, and the speaker Toastmaster Zara for the speech. Next, I would like to ask the timer, who is once again TTM Talab and Hamid, that have both the speakers qualified.
No, only one speaker has qualified, the other has exceeded their time, but all the evaluators and modular evaluators have qualified. So I'll be floating the polls while the meeting goes on. So back to you.
Perfect. So that's for what you get when you actually want the modular evaluators that you will be muted after 1 minute and 30 seconds. So well done to everyone. So the votes are in for the best lead evaluators. So in the meantime, I would like to move on to the next part, which is the table topic section, and that will be conducted by our president, distinguished Toastmaster Saif Ali Sheikh. Over to you, sir. Sir, you're on mute.
Oh, this has happened to the old peoples.
All of us, sir, all of us.
So thank you very much, DTM Saad and fellow Toastmaster. I have very few table topics with for you, and I will start with one of my favorite table topic speaker. He is Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi. Toastmaster Irfan Farooqi, please input yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Oh, yes, you are audible. Toastmaster Irfan.
First of all, I'm honored with your starting words.
So,
Thank you very much.
Toastmaster Irfan, I have a topic that is very close to you. And the topic for you, what's your favorite song and why? And share a few lines with us.
Let me share one thing, one specific personal thing with all of you at this moment. When I was married, and honestly speaking, it was not an easy marriage. There had been multiple problems in the family. So it was in very close family, but when it is very close, then there are many differences also. So in the process of getting engaged and getting married, there was a gap of almost 4 years. And it seemed, will this marriage be completed or not? Yes, no, yes, no. It remained between these two aspects. For those who are not from Pakistan, it is very important to understand that here in Pakistan, marriage is not just between two people, it is between two families. And if the families are not very happy, the marriage will not continue. So two people are important, but family is more important. So there were issues. Sometimes somebody raises an issue, sometimes someone else raises the issue. And as a result of those issues, the marriage was getting late, and we were never sure will it come out of. And finally, we got married. And when we got married, we had to travel from Bahawalpur to Lahore, which at that time was about 7 hours journey because of the road conditions. So as soon as I sat in my car and we started our travel, I put on a song, which I will repeat here again, and we'll try to translate it for our foreign guests. The song said, चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहां हम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Pyar hi pyar pare. Thank you very much, Toastmaster. I was expecting the same song from you. Let's move to another Toastmaster. Toastmaster Osama, you are with us. Toastmaster Osama Ali.
Yes, DTM sir, I am with you.
The question for you. What was the worst advice you have been given? What was the worst advice you have been given? Toastmaster Osama Ali.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster DTM sir, for a great question. What was the worst advice I would have been given? Well, I must say that if I would go in my previous in my previous past, there have been multiple times that there have been multiple times that I have discussed many different things with different people with whom I feel very relevant that they are good people in their field, and I believe that everyone whoever is giving some advice to you, she is giving according to his her life experiences. He has experienced that situation in his her life, and from that experience he is sharing that with you. And as being a mature person, I believe that when you are around 25 years of age, you are mature enough that it's upon you that you have to decide that what thing that you have to take with you, and what thing you are disagreeing with, and you can't take it forward. So you can say that it can be a good lesson for you to be taking that forward, and it can be a bad lesson for you. So I believe that it's upon everyone that whether he should take that good advice with him that can succeed him forward in life, or he should not take that advice. It's upon him because. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Osama. I was expecting that you are going to say the worst advice I received from the Toastmaster Saif Ali Sheikh. Let's move to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Toastmaster Faisal. You're with us.
Yes, DTM sir.
Toastmaster Faisal, the question for you. What's your best, quoted unquoted, my co-worker are crazy, unquote, story? What's
My
your best,
co-worker.
my co-worker are crazy? Share the story with us.
I think, thank you so much, DTM Talha, for this opportunity. A lot of persons are coming when I'm thinking about this. My co-workers are crazy. I think there are a lot of experiences either in my teaching side or in my chemical plant side. And I have to choose which one would be more crazier than those. However, I would say that there was one guy in my chemical plant who was in one of the managerial positions, and he was crazy when we have to change or shift, for example, a pump from one pump to another pump, from one cutter to another cutter, or vice versa. And he was always in panic, and we have to follow all the SOPs very carefully, and we have to make him run, make that person run to do this and that. So there was a lot of panic situation, which is somewhat justified, but that made me think that why this person is getting this thing to another level. So that was the thing that I was thinking about myself, that how I should deal with this when I would be at his place. Because when we are doing these type of things in a chemical plant, we can understand we have to be very deal with the safety and health issues as well. However, I was thinking for myself that how to find that balance between getting crazier and feeling sane as well at that time. And however, I was very lucky to have him as well as my as the manager and teaching me a lot of things about the chemical plant. However, yes, there were a lot of things that he was doing also that made not just me but also everyone there crazier doing and learning the things at that pace. Over to DTM sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Faisal. So what a wonderful story you shared with us. And my last question to Lydia. Are you ready?
Excuse me, sir. I think Toastmaster ET also volunteered for table topics.
Who? Elias?
Helios. Yeah,
Toastmaster? Okay, let's.
He was the first.
Okay, sorry, Lydia. I will ask you the question later after the Elias. Toastmaster Elias, the question for you. What's the best prank you have played on someone? What's the best prank you have played on someone?
Okay. Yo, what's up, my fellow pranksters of the world? How are you today? How many pranks that you have pulled over for today? And yes,
Yes.
can you imagine what is the best prank that I have ever made? Well, I'm not that really good at making pranks. I'm just really good in self-deprecating. So yes, I prank myself to entertain people. So I get a lot of attention just doing some silly things, goofy around. Well, when I was in junior high school, I even pretended to be John Cena. If you know John Cena, you can see me from WWE. I use the shorts. I train my muscle. And do you know what? I even try to smack down my friend. And that's the best prank that I have ever made. Because it is on the land, the heartland. And can you imagine the injury or even I can break some tables. I can break some chairs on my classroom. I literally put on the chair and I want to smack my friend with that because I was so influenced by the WWE. That era is so hardcore, extreme moves. I really love about it. And yes, I try to pull out some sounds or provocative from the WWE, not only like this, or if you know Undertaker, he will arrive from the behind, and when you move around, he will choke slam you to the ground like that. And Kane, if you know the one with the flame, he will demonstrate like this. Boom, the fire is around. And yes, that's how I play prank with my friend, with a lot of imagination. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, those masters, imagination is so wonderful. You can imagine everything and you can make it happen. Back to you, CPM side.
Thank you very much, Elias. And Lydia, now once again, it's your turn. You're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, that's great. What's the best prank you have played on you? What's the best prank you played on you?
Thank you for that question. I have a nickname for myself, which is called Sloth Woman. You know how a sloth screams once a year? Well, that explains my sense of humor and my wit. Every once in a while, I might scream once. So unfortunately, I don't really have a prank that I would have played on myself because unfortunately, when it comes to a battle of wits, I'm an unarmed person. However, being in Toastmasters and having an opportunity to work on speeches to develop my sense of humor, I might actually be able to develop my creativity to a point to where I might be able to think of a prank that I might be able to play on myself or possibly on someone else. And then maybe I might find another animal besides a sloth that screams once a year to identify with. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lydia. And may I request the timer to please share the time?
Yes, all the speakers have qualified, and I'll be floating the poll for best table topic speaker race. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you very much. By this, I hand over control back to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmasters. Saif Ali Sheikh for that wonderful table topic session. Next, we'll move on to the general evaluation part. Part of our meeting, which will be conducted by the general evaluator of the meeting, Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal. So, Toastmaster Faisal, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters of the day, Team South, for this opportunity. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished Toastmasters, let us begin the general evaluation. But before sharing the report, let us call upon our role players for today's meeting. And then, first of all, the language evaluator, Toastmaster Sama Ali, to please come forward and share his report. Over to Toastmaster Sama.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster General Evaluator Faisal Iqbal, for handing over the stage. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, first of all, I would like to share about the word of the day, whom used the word of the day. So, first of all, Toastmaster Lydia used the word of the day. I am agog to be the lead evaluator. And then Toastmaster Zara used the word of the day. You said in an agog way. And then DTM Saif Ali Sheikh used the word of the day. I am very agog to share the table topics with you. And then I'm going to share some of the thoughts, words, and sayings with you that people used in all over the meeting today. Some good ones were, I need to ask you, don't ask me why. And then, regardless of what generation we are, we can always learn from each other. And then there was, come along with the line of reasoning that we are going to get along. And then there was, I was able to complete toast and Kentucky Fried Chicken in just 5 minutes. And the last one was, I should take care of my health. So that were some of the good words and sayings by some people. So over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sama Ali, for sharing us your thoughts. Moving ahead, may I request the timer for today's meeting, who is none other than DTM Talha bin Ahmed, to please come forward and share his report. Over to DTM Talha.
Thank you so much. First of all, miraculously, we're still within time. I don't know how, but thanks today, especially to the modular evaluators who stayed within time. And as we discovered over the past few meetings, whenever we exceed time, it's usually because of the modular evaluators. All the speakers and evaluators were within time. Toastmaster Zahra exceeded her time, but not by much, by 15 seconds. And what is excellent is that DTM Saif conducted a session with 5 table topic speeches instead of the usual 3, but very efficiently and very quickly. So that is all I have as far as the timing is concerned. Over to you.
Thank you so much, DTM Talha bin Ahmed, for sharing your report. Now, moving ahead with the overall evaluation of the meeting, I must say that I'm truly humbled and honored to be a part of this meeting and taking the role for the first time as a general evaluator outside my meeting, outside my own club, Cloud 132. And I must say that one of the best things that I loved throughout the meeting is the time management and how effectively and efficiently all of the role players and all of the things were structured throughout the meeting, and they were very rigorously followed accordingly. Another thing I liked about is that there was somehow, due to either Eid or some events, so unavailability of role players, and how the role players who are in the meeting took more than one role and managed to do this meeting very efficiently. I didn't felt even for a second that there is any particular glitch or particular unsmoothness during the meeting due to unavailability of role players. All thanks to DTM Talha and other role players who have taken the lead, either as the modulators or either as timer, either as sergeant at arm as well. Moving ahead to a very respectable DTM staff who added a pinch of humor throughout the meeting, either through his table topic comments or in the starting of the meeting. Another thing I liked is the recap of the meeting in the beginning. I have seen this for the first time, and that allows us to get a glimpse into what happened in the previous meeting. And that is very good, even for the people who are coming in the meeting for the first time, and even who have missed that. Another thing I liked is that how, due to the unavailability of the Toastmaster of the day, DTM set immediately took this opportunity to lead us forward towards the next session, towards a very incredible keynote speech, which is none other than Toastmaster. I would say that in that keynote speech, I loved how it was structured throughout, and that gave us opportunity to ask questions afterwards. However, I would say, in my humble opinion, a little bit suggestion to make that keynote interactive. Although it was very contemplative throughout the session, for example, when he said that think about it for a moment, it allowed us to contemplate what and absorb in the information that he was giving. However, I would say that at some points there were very things that were discussed that he could ask the audience to write in the chat box, what do you think, what you would have done, or any other story that happened to you about this particular situation. So for example, he said, how do you know if repair is needed or not? So I would say that he could ask us to write in the chat box, or even to just think in our mind that, what do we think about this? And just take a pause for 1 or 2 seconds for us to think in and think that, what do we think about this? And that's how it could have made even more impact. Moving forward to none other than Toastmaster Saad, who has taken the lead and done a brilliant job. I loved him. I've listening after a long time, and the way he took the meeting as a TMOD and asking the members to come forward and share the thoughts was very good. And I'm listening to the Geek of the Week for the first time as the Geek of the Week, to DTM Thala. And how did he came to know that I was thinking 2 days back about the book Martian and whether should I read it or not. So thank you to DTM Thala for reading my mind about this and sharing a wonderful story about this particular book. I would love to read this in the coming future. And you made it very, you hooked the audience with your questions that, have you read this book and have you gone through all these experiences or things? So throughout your geek section was very, very, I would say it made me more curious to know about this particular session. Overall, the speeches was very good, and how the modulators part was structured. I've also seen this for the first time, and that allows the speaker to listen to all of these things. I would say that overall it was a very good meeting. I loved the speakers and all of the things that was structured. One little bit suggestion is just for the members to rename themselves. For example, to write the speaker before the name so that we could know that he or she is the speaker. And that's how that could make the audience connect with them. Another thing I would appreciate that we all are doing a great, all Toastmasters have done a great job. So I may request everyone to please give a huge round of applause, because somehow I felt it was a little bit missed throughout the meeting, because we all need to appreciate all the members who have put in their heart and soul into this particular meeting, which I just loved. And yes, another thing I would just say is to just tell the members in advance about their unavailability so that we could adjust accordingly and not do another extra burden on our particular role players who have already taken the role. overall, I must say that I am also learning every bit and every second of throughout the meeting, and I would also contemplate back. And I was agog with excitement when I was I asked for this particular role. So thank you so very much. Moving ahead to none other than TMOD, Sir. To TM Sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Faisal, for that well explained, well articulated, and an amazing general evaluations session, and telling us where we can work upon in the future meetings to come. We look forward to having you over and over again, and hopefully next time you won't be burdened with role. You can just enjoy the meeting. So with that, we'll move on to the remarks by the president. DTM Saif Ali Sheikh, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, TMOD, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. And fellow Toastmaster, did you enjoy the meeting? The credit goes to the Toastmaster of the day. Give him a big round of applause. Before I'm going to move further, since our time is 12 o'clock and we exceeded already 2 minutes, if you allow me, we can use another 3 to 4 minutes, if you permit. Otherwise, we're going to adjourn the meeting. With your permission, can we go ahead?
So you are the president.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters. Let's have a result first. Then after that, I will take over.
All right. So, all right, the votes are in. And best speaker goes to Toastmaster Muazzam Azam because he's the only one qualified. Best evaluator goes to myself. Apologies. I don't make the results, I only report them. I cannot even vote as meeting administrator. Best modular evaluator goes to Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim. Congratulations. This is the toughest one because this has the most contestants. Best table topics goes to, it's a tie between Toastmaster Irfan and Toastmaster Elios, and I'm not breaking the tie, so you both are winners. And best big three, just give me a moment. Yeah. Best big three goes to our table topics master, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh. So over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster DTM Tala. And fellow Toastmaster, let me recap that this coming week, 29, we have a district conference at Lahore. 30th, we have at Karachi, and 1st of May, we are going to have in Islamabad. I urge all of you, please make sure that you are a part of that district conference and attend that conference to make it successful. As I said earlier, in May, we are going to have election for this club, for upcoming club leadership. So I already shared the club leadership book in the group. Be ready. In the second week, we are going to conduct the elections for the next term. If you have any questions, before I'm going to ask the question, is a guest comment if anyone would like to comment on the meeting. Okay, good. Any question? If none, it's 12:05. I officially adjourn this meeting. So unofficially, we are here. I request DTM Tala to please stop the recording so we can talk unofficial.